Hey, welcome back to another episode of Collector's Corner. And I'm your host, Corey Smith. Thank you for stopping by today, and thank you for checking out my show. I love just sitting here showing off pieces from my collection. And man, we've been doing it for a minute, so there's plenty of videos to go back and check out. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff.
Let's do it.
But right now, today, thank you for joining me. We're going to dip our toes back into the world of books.
I know books. I have 186 of them at home.
Books, books, books. I'm a nerd and I've read a lot of books. Nerd. So anyway, I've done a couple of book videos already. Favorite childhood books, stuff that I'd carried with me from the collection for all these years. And I've also done an episode on my favorite book of all time. As you can see some of the copies back here. Summer and Night by Dan Simmons. But my favorite author of all time is Mr. Dean Koontz.
Hi, I'm Dean Koontz, and I'm a writer.
That's right, the Koontzer. Koontz, Dean Koontz. And if you're not familiar with who Dean Koontz is, he is a horror, suspense, sci-fi, adventure book writer. Been doing his thing since the late 70s, early 80s. And, just kind of really suspenseful, fast-paced. Before we even get into the five, because I'm going to do my top five Dean Koontz books, I'm going to show you this little thing from 1994, The Dean Koontz Companion.
A temporary companion to help me pass a few short hours and
kind of get us started off. Let's get us going. There's like a little appetizer, like yum, 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 yum. Oh, them potato skins is real good. Let's put a little sour cream on there. So anyway, The Dean Koontz Companion came out in 94. At this point, he's already blown up. He's huge on the scene, on the New York Times bestsellers list. And so they give you this little thing to kind of, hey, I want to be introduced to Mr. Koontz here and see what I need to know about the man. It's just a little comprehensive look into his career. It starts off, it's got a full interview. You've got some of his magazine articles and things that he wrote way back when he was first getting started in the business, some short stories, some other little things, some little stuff he's written for forwards for other books, and just, it's just all kinds of stuff. And so it's just a neat little companion. Oh, so, if you were a Dean Koontz fan like I was, already a Dean Koontz fan by 1994, well, of course, I had to hook it up, and I had to get this shit going. So that's just a little introduction. That's just, like I said, the little tasty appetizer. But we're going to get in to the top five. Top five, baby! So let's kick it off right now with a newer book, 2005. We've got Dean Koontz's Velocity.
Nice velocity.
Velocity! And that's a good title because this thing is fast. I mean, you got the bright yellow book, you got the fast sounding word velocity. And this book is like a race against time. And a lot of Dean Koontz books are a race against time. That's what I love about Dean Koontz. Most of his stuff is so fast-paced. A lot of his stories, a lot of his books take place over the course of just a day, 2 days, or sometimes even less. And so it's just, every chapter is just like, get it, get it, get it, get it. And this is no different. And so let me read you the little thing here. You got this guy, Billy, goes out to his car, finds a note under his windshield, and he's like, oh, what is this bullshit? Opens it up, and it says, if you don't take this note to the police, I will kill a lovely blonde school teacher. If you do take it to the police, I will instead kill an... I can't even spit this out. You people are sitting there listening like, he's stumbling all through these stupid-ass words. I will instead kill an elderly woman active in charity work. You have 6 hours to decide. The choice is yours. And he's like, oh, this is a stupid prank. Dumbass teenagers, they ain't falling for shit. Wads it up, throws in the seat, in his car, drives away. Get up, eat breakfast in the morning. Oh my God! There was a lovely blonde school teacher that was just murdered in her home last night. And he's looking at it, he's like, wait a minute. It said if I didn't take this note to the police, then a lovely blonde school teacher would be murdered, and she was. And so then he's like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. And then it's crazy. He starts getting more notes with things that he has to do, like where the guy will say, if you don't call this person, or if you don't go here, this person's going to die. And it's like, just a cat and mouse game. And then he finds out that his evidence against him has been planted at some of the murder scenes so that it makes it look like he could be the murderer. So then he surely can't go to the authorities now. He's going to have to just do this shit on his own. And so, like I said, race against time. So every time he gets these little notes where it'll be like, in 6 hours you have to do this, and in 2 hours you have to do this. And, ooh, boy, it's fast-paced. Get that hot pumping. And, I like to get that hot pumping. So, that is number 5. Counting it down, Velocity. Another newer book for number 2 at 2007's The Good Guy.
I could be a good guy if I wanted to.
Oh, before we even get into that, let's see you read a quote from the Denver Post, because I was just talking about fast-paced, fast-moving Dean Koontz. Koontz writes thrillers that move so fast they make every other thriller writer seem to be standing still, because he's 0 to 100 in a second. Oh my God! Beats every textbook in the world. So anyway, you've got Dean Koontz, the good guy. They want her dead. One thing stands in their way, the good guy. So what you got is, you got this fella, Tim, a single dude, just hanging out in Northern California, going down to the bar. He's sipping on a beer. Like, it's just Friday night, whatever, I'm kind of bored. And then this dude sits up next to him and is like, hey man, are you the dude? Are you the man? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, brother. I'm just having a beer. And so they slides him a big old envelope full of cash, and then they're like, what the hell? And the guy gets up and just goes, and he's like, all right, man, I want it done. And then just takes off. And so he's all kind of confused. He's like, he's counting the cash. He's like, yeah, that's a big old stack of cash. There's like a picture of a lady and her name and address and shit in there. And it's like, he's supposed to kill. The guy that sat down at the bar thought he was a hitman that he was meeting and gave Tim his big sack of cash, or a big envelope of cash with the mark, with the hit, with the target on there. And dang, he's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And before he can even get up and do anything, another dude sits down next to him and is like, hey man, you got the money? And he goes, what? He's like, you told me to meet you here, and you'd have the money and the name of the target. And he's like, oh, you mean this big envelope of money with the chick's name in it and all that kind of stuff? And the guy's like, yeah, I'm here to do your job. And then Tim's like, oh, no. That's fine. Right, let's call it off. I changed my mind. I'll give you the $10,000. You go along on your way, and then we'll call it done or whatever. And so the guy's like, all right, man, you're lost. I'm still getting paid. I don't give a shit if I got to kill this woman or not. And so Tim's like, all right, no, man, take it easy later. But then Tim's like, I got to get to the bottom of this. This is some freakish shit. This is weird shit. And so he's just like, very inquisitive, curious. He doesn't know if it's real, if he's supposed to believe any of this shit, if this is just some kind of elaborate prank being played. He doesn't know what's going on. And so he goes outside and he's like, I'm going to play sneaky detective guy. And then he realizes, wait a minute, the hitman that was trying to take this job is a cop. Oh no. And so he just starts, and then he's like, all right, I got to, figure some shit out. This is dirty dealings. And so then he goes and finds the lady. And hey, lady, I hate to tell you, but somebody wants your ass dead. And then right about that time, they're almost killed in a gunfight. And it's car chases, and it's running, and it's shooting and everything, and it's crazy. He's a good guy. He can't just let this lady be killed and go on and live his life and not be all kinds of feeling, all kinds of guilt. So another high-octane, fast-paced thriller, just fun, nothing supernatural, no freaky ghosts or monsters. We'll get to some of that kind of shit here in a minute. But right now, just a great action thriller, sort of suspense thriller kind of thing. So that's number 4. y'all ready for number 3? Number 3, we're going way back to actually one of Dean Koontz's first books. This book, I read this thing probably, I guess, maybe for junior high. My older brother was already reading a little bit of some Dean Koontz and stuff. And then I came across this one, The Voice of the Night, from 1980. And then this is also one of the very first coming-of-age horror novels that I've read.
We're the Monster Squad.
And I will tell you what, I mean, my favorite book back here, Summer of Night.
Remember those cold nights,
is considered one of the best coming-of-age horror novels of all time. And if you're not familiar with what coming-of-age horror is, it's usually a group or a couple of preteen kids, you know, anywhere from like 9 to 12 years old. Kids on bikes, out on adventures. I mean, Stand By Me, The Goonies, It, Stranger Things, all of that kind of stuff. And so my favorite genre of horror is the coming of age. I don't know what it is. I just love kids on bikes on adventures, and woo. And so when I read this one, probably in, like I said, my early teens or whatever, and I knew instantly I was hooked on some Dean Koontz, because what you got here is a traditional, again, no supernatural, no monsters and ghosts and goblins and any of that kind of shit. We're talking about just a couple of kids growing up, doing some crazy shit, getting in over their heads, all of that kind of stuff. And so what you got is you got Colin. He's this little, whatever, like 5th, 6th grade or something. Moves to this new town and kind of an outsider, doesn't have a lot of friends. But then he meets Roy, this other kid that's kind of like, kind of cool and kind of hip and, big, strong kid. And like, it just, hey, all right. And they become buddies and they're hanging out. But, Roy's got a little thing. He's got a couple of screws loose up in that head. Colin's like, wait a minute. I want to start, like, trying to hold hands with girls. And, like, I'm getting into all kinds of other stuff because I'm growing up. We're getting into junior high. And Roy's like, man, I just want to, like, kill small animals and set things on fire. And tries to derail a train with a old pickup truck that he tries to run it off the road with. Just... all of a sudden, Colin's like, wait a minute, my best friend is fucking crazy. He's fucking out of his mind. I don't even know what to do. And then he realizes, like, I'm about to break this friendship off. I mean, this is too much. I'll have to go talk to Roy's parents and tell him, like, your boy's crazy. You need to check into this kid's psycho, whatever. Whoa, boy, that sets off Roy bedtime. He's like, oh, you done turned on me. Now I got to kill you. I'm going to kill your girl. And I don't care if we are just like 12-year-old boys. I'm fucking crazy. And so then it's like, it's a cat and mouse. He's trying to figure out, how am I going to, like, not get killed by Roy? How am I going to get him to either confess to his stuff he's been doing, get him some help, something. And so, again, just a quick read, fast-paced. You're just looking at everything through the eyes of a kid, a novel of adolescent evil, knee-knocking suspense. Yeah, so it's like I said, great introduction to that coming-of-age horror, coming-of-age thriller sort of genre right there. So that's my number 3. Woo! We're marching on to number 2. Number 2. All right, what do we got for number 2? Number 2, now we are going to get into some weird, supernatural, science-y, fiction-y, horror-y kind of shit. And we are talking about 1985's Twilight Eyes.
Prepare to meet Mr. Angry Eyes.
Ooh, Twilight Eyes in 1985. Ow! Right on. So what you got here, look at this. It's a cardinal. That's a spooky looking cardinal. Oh my goodness.
I hit pay dirt when I got a job with a traveling carnival.
What is happening there? Slim, he's this young dude in his 20s. All of a sudden, he shows up at this carnival and is like, hey man, can you guys give me a job? Can you guys give me a place to stay? And you come to find out, Slim's got some fucking crazy powers. I mean, he ain't no Superman, but he's got some fucking crazy ass mental powers. If you've seen the movie They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper,
You see, I take these glasses off. She looks like a regular person, doesn't she, huh?
That thing, where he can see, he puts on the sunglasses and he can see these aliens or these monsters or whatever they are that are disguised as humans when you don't have the sunglasses on. You put the sunglasses on and you're like, oh, I can see their fucking gross ass face and shit under there. Well, Slim's just got that power all the time, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he starts seeing these fucking lizard-looking people, that he's like, blink, 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 and wait a minute, that's supposed to just be like the mailman or the guy down the street, whatever, when I kind of like crook my eye a little bit, I can see like their freaky, monstery, alien, lizardy faces underneath their skin. And he's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And then one of the fucking monsters realizes that he can, that Slim can see him. Slim's got to kill the guy, and then he's on the run, and he goes into hiding in the carnival because it's like, well, I can just, hide out here with all these other freaks. And I can pretend like, and so he does, But then when he gets in there, he realizes there's a couple other carnies that have the exact same power, and he gets together with them and like, what the hell is going on? Why can we see these weird lizardy monster people? And so they start investigating, getting to the bottom of things, and they realize it's this like ancient race of lizardy monster people, thousands of years old, predates any kind of human civilization, all that kind of stuff. And they've been hiding as humans and integrating themselves into our world. But they thrive on misery and death. They love killing humans, torturing them, eating their guts and hearts. And oh my God, they're like cannibal serial killers. But they're very good at hiding out. But then Slim and his girlfriend, a couple of people, they're like, man, we see you guys, and we're gonna start killing you. And we're in a traveling carnival, so it's like they go to town, and then they see people walking around the midway, and they're like, I see the guy in the brown hat, he looks like a monster. I see the lady in the yellow dress, she looks like a monster. I see the other guy wearing overalls, he's fat and a monster, a fat-ass monster. Yeah, so anyway, they start fucking killing these monsters in every little town that they're bouncing around to, and then they find some information, like some paperwork, some kind of research, whatever, blah, 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 and then they figure out where these monsters have like sort of their headquarters-y things up in the mountains in Pennsylvania. It's just crazy. It's science fiction-y. It's horror. It's monsters. It's lizard people. It's carnies. It's fucking like the whole deal. It's a great book. I don't know what else to say, and so I'm gonna stop saying shit about Twilight Eyes, and we're gonna go on to number one.
Don't forget, you're my number one customer.
Oh my God, we are here. Number one. I don't know what to say except, get ready, baby! Woo! Dean Koontz's best book, in my opinion. My favorite Dean Koontz book. One of my all-time favorite books in general. And we are talking about 1989's Midnight.
It was midnight in the howling forest.
So there you go. Get out of the way of the books. Let the companion back out. Pow! Look at that. And I'll tell you what, right now, there's a good reason they used the cover for Midnight as the cover for the companion, because this was Dean Koontz's first number one New York Times hardback bestseller.
A bestseller.
This is what, boom, shot him to the top and made him a household name, made him a superstar. Everybody's like, oh, he's Stephen King Jr.
My name is Stephen King.
And so that's kind of where he's been his whole career almost. Like, even though most of his books are very polar opposite of some of Stephen King's writing style. I mean, I'll be the first to say Stephen King's shit's a little bloated and he runs on a little too much exposition. Get it, Stephen King! Your chapters ain't gotta be 30 damn pages long. Good God. But anyway, that's kind of where he fell in, because he does write in a horror-y, sci-fi sort of way, and so he always kind of got labeled as like the mini Stephen King, the Stephen King Jr., the not as successful Stephen King. But man, I don't even know how many top 10 bestsellers or number one bestsellers he's had since then. A number of them. So he's doing his own thing. He ain't worried about it. But Midnight, this is the book that kind of shot him to the stardom. And look at that cover, man. I do love that fucking cover. That's some, what is the name of that cove? Moonlight Cove. Moonlight Cove, California. It's this Northern California coastal city. I love that area. Love that whole region. And so what is going on is there's a FBI agent, this undercover FBI agent. Don't remember his name, not important. Anyway, he gets word that, like, hey, man, there'll be maybe some weird shit going on in this town, and you better come up here and see what's going on. And so he's like, all right, I'll get up there. What's happening? And so what is happening is there's this I can't spit them words. Eccentric billionaire living up in some mountainy coastal town. And he's like a fucking Bill Gatesy, Elon Musk kind of dude, like sciencey, but kind of crazy, but super smart. Lives in a big compound, giant, mansion, the whole deal. Well, come to find out, this dude is into some like genetic mutation experimenting and some, I don't know, trying to figure out like how to mutate people. And so that they get rid of disease and get rid of any kind of setbacks. And so you got like, a sort of superhuman serum. Is kind of what he's working on. Secret kind of shit. Black ops lab, hidden lab kind of shit. Well, the only problem is, dude has not perfected his serum. Next thing you know, you got microchips and nanobots and shit running around in your body. And then you go, oh my God, I'm turning into a werewolf, pretty much. It's not true werewolf. I mean, they don't use the word werewolf, and it doesn't cause a full moon. But they turn people that were infected with this shit, like his, his testing subjects, his trial subjects. These fucking people start turning into these beasts, these like hairy, monstery, fucking werewolf-looking creatures. And then the fucking undercover FBI agent shows up in town. He meets up with this other chick that her sister was killed by one of these monsters. They find this this teenager or this middle school girl. Her parents. She realized her parents. She saw them turning into monsters and stuff. And so they are trapped in this town trying to get the hell out of there and cut off from communication. Because then once the crazy billionaire realizes shit's going haywire, he's like, well, I'm killing every damn body in the town and locking this sucker down and nobody getting out and this secret's going to die with me. And so they've got until midnight to escape Moonlight Cove. And there's monsters running around and creatures and scary shit, and it is fucking good. And I can tell you that is why it became a #1 bestseller. It's still one of my favorite books. I have read it several times over the years, and there are some spooky moments in this. I don't know why I am flipping this fucking thing around. I just realized, what the fuck am I doing? This ain't no gyrus. Nope. Woo! That is it. I'm done. I'm out of here, and I will catch you next week, baby. Woo!